And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we are going to be talking about the next playoff games that are going to be happening tonight. They start at 7 o'clock on TNT. It's a doubleheader. So the first game, we're just going to dive right in. First game of this doubleheader is going to be the Miami Heat going up against the Boston Celtics. And they still play in TD Garden, the Boston Celtics home court, and keeping with the tradition with the Boston Celtics, I think that they are going to prevail in this matchup, and they're going to win out in home court, and then they're going to look to play the next game in Miami, but I don't think that they're going to struggle that much, especially since this team doesn't have Jimmy Butler, who is essentially like their best player in these kind of situations, and now that he's not there to help them, it's really like it's not looking good for Miami. Now, Jason Tatum, last game he ended with a triple-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and obviously that was a very good performance coming in from him. Jaylen Brown also played rather well with 17 points, ended the game shooting 6 for 12 from the field, and Porzingis, Derek White, they all played pretty well as well. So did Al Horford. They all shot the ball rather well. They all played very well, and it's very difficult to beat a team that shoots 44% from three. And they ended up going 22 for 29 from three in their last matchup at home. So obviously, like being at home, they have a much better advantage than being away, especially when a team shoots the ball as many times as they do. Home court advantage definitely plays a huge role, especially so that way like none of these players get as nervous when they are shooting the ball from three, because Miami Heat, they shot 12 for 37 from three in their last matchup. And again, it's not really ideal when you're going up against a team like the Boston Celtics. And the Celtics, they have the best record in the NBA right now, and they haven't lost. It's rare that they lose a home game to an Eastern Conference opponent. And I don't think that trend is going to stop happening anytime soon. So I do think that the Celtics, they have the best chance of winning this game. Their odds are minus 14.5, so they're expected to outscore the Miami Heat by 15 points in this game, which is obviously like a very wide margin of points and production that the Boston Celtics are expected to have over a team like the Miami Heat. And that's like the big difference maker is the fact that Jimmy Butler is not in this postseason, which if he was in the postseason, I think that would definitely affect the odds of this game and the odds of the matchup. So like, again, they're expecting another blowout. I think that the Celtics are going to follow suit with that blowout. The Celtics they're just a better team. It's really difficult to go against a team that has as many wins as they do, going up against an 8th seed, fueled by the revenge and the humiliation that they've had to hold against that team for the last year. So I really don't think that the Heat have much of a chance when going against the Boston Celtics. Now, it really just goes back to Jimmy Butler and whether or not he would be healthy. But he's 100% going to be out for the rest of the postseason. So there's no real direction for the Miami Heat to go in this playoffs. And with all that in mind, it really just shows it's like all of this and all the sweat and all the determination that they put in this game. It was sort of all for nothing because they're going against a ridiculous juggernaut of a team like the Boston Celtics. So I really don't see the Celtics losing the series. And The Thunder going up against the Pelicans. That's the final game 2 of the first round, and they play at 9:30 right after the Celtics playoff against the Heat. Excuse me, I feel like I need to sneeze, but excuse me, my bad. So again, the Thunder, they play the Pelicans in this highly anticipated matchup. So the Pelicans, they were one shot away from being able to win the game in regulation, but CJ McCollum ended up missing the three-pointer. It was an off-balance fadeaway three, which, not really fade away. He was more like leaning forward. But regardless, it was a difficult shot, and a shot that he really, it was really unexpected for him to hit. He wasn't really expected to hit that shot at all. And because of that, now they're down 1-0 in the series. And obviously, ideally, they would want to try and steal this game so that way they can go into New Orleans and have that home court advantage. They sort of need that home court advantage because similar to the Miami Heat, they also are lacking in a player offensively in Zion Williamson. And because he's not there, he's sort of been like this. Obviously, Zion is one of the league's best scorers when he's healthy, and when he's not playing for the Pelicans, that is a huge lack of production that they're missing out on. Thankfully, they do have Ingram back in the lineup, and they also do have CJ McCollum. But still, that's not really when you're a team that had Zion healthy, and he was scoring 40. He scored 40 points in that play-in game against the Lakers. And when you don't have that for the postseason, it's a serious downgrade. And they sort of need all that production, and they needed all the help that they could possibly get for this matchup because, despite the Pelicans being really, really lacking in this matchup, and despite them not having their best player with Zion Williamson, they have been able to make the series rather competitive, which is the big difference maker between both of these teams and both of the games, because these the Thunder going up against the Pelicans, that matchup, it was really close from the start. And it ended with Shai needing to be clutch in the final moments and hitting the game-winning and one so that way his team could be up in the series and his team could sort of take that lead. And obviously, you can't really rely on that performance every single time. But with how competitive the Pelicans were able to make that game without having Zion, it really, it shows that that's a possibility for the future, and it's something that should be considered for this team. And it's, there is a chance that the team could steal a game before they go to New Orleans, but it would take a really good performance from CJ, and it would also take a really good performance from Brandon Ingram in order to ensure that to happen. And with the way that they've been playing recently in these games, it doesn't really seem like they have that in their arsenal to be able to do that. But again, we'll see how it goes. It's not entirely sure how it will play out, but the Celtics series is much more guaranteed. If you're going to place money on any team, I would put money line on the Celtics because it does seem like they have the best chances of winning in this game. But with the Pelicans and the Thunder, I'm not entirely sure. So I wouldn't really, because it's not really fair to count out a team when they haven't played a game both away and a game at home. And right now we're still in that stretch where we're still seeing one team play all the home games, and we have to wait until Game 3 before we can make the assumption on how the series is going to really end. And I understand it's not really fair to count out a team, before that, but I really think that the Celtics are just going to beat this Miami Heat team, and there's really no debate about it. But that's all that I have for you guys in this fourth segment. It's a much shorter fourth segment than usual, and that's basically it for this show, and that's it for the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And we also like to remind you to please use the link in the description to get your comments recognized, or the link displayed below the ticker on every show segment. It is gsmcpodcast.net. Really helps the show, makes the show much more interactive between myself and you guys. And that is basically it for the show. Thank you all once again. I am your host, Nelson. Have a wonderful day, and as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.